Welcome to Engadget's unnamed weekly roundup of video game news. I'm Jessica Condit. Here's what's going on in games right now. We're going to talk about the Game Awards a lot this week, but one of the biggest announcements from last Thursday's show was the existence of Light No Fire, a new title from No Man's Sky studio Hello Games. It's a planet-sized multiplayer game about exploration and community building, and it uses procedural generation to fill every valley and mountaintop with life. At least that's the promise. There's no release date for Light No Fire just yet, but Hello Games has been working on it for 5 years. Otherwise at the Game Awards, we saw the reveal of a Blade game from Arcane, OD from Kojima Productions, Windblown from Dead Cells studio Motion Twin, and Exodus from Archetype Entertainment, a studio composed of BioWare, 343, and Naughty Dog veterans. As for the awards, Best Narrative went to Alan Wake 2, Best Debut Indie Game went to Cocoon, and the Esports Coach of the Year went to Potter. Indie game Baldur's Gate 3 won the Game of the Year, while Sea of Stars won Best Independent Game over Dave the Diver, a title that was never indie to begin with. Got it? Good. Moving on. UK studio Free Radical Design, which was working on the Time Splitters revival, laid off more than 80 people and shut its doors on Monday. It marks another round of layoffs under Embracer this year. The holding company announced in June that a $2 billion funding deal fell through, and it spent the last few months closing studios and firing staff at places including Saints Row developer Volition and chorus maker Fish Labs. The Game Awards last week ran for 3 hours, hosted by organizer Jeff Keighley. It was fancy and packed with movie stars, which honestly is pretty weird for a show that's supposed to be about video games. Between abundant ad breaks, rushed speeches for winning developers, and ample stage time for celebrities, this year's Game Awards didn't feel like a celebration of the industry. I'm not the only one who noticed the imbalance. After the Game Awards, plenty of developers, players, and critics expressed displeasure with its pacing and priorities. Of the show's 180 minutes, speeches from award winners took up just 10 minutes, and developers were prompted to please wrap it up after just 30 seconds. Meanwhile, Jordan Peele and Hideo Kojima were given nearly 7 minutes to talk about their upcoming project that looks more like a movie than a game. There were appearances by Simu Liu, Matthew McConaughey, and actors from TV shows based on video games. The Game of the Year award was presented by Timothée Chalamet for some reason. Gonzo the Muppet even got 2 minutes. Keighley rushed through most awards by reading the categories and winners directly into the camera back to back to back. Announcement trailers were indistinguishable from ad breaks, and there was no time spared for the industry's most relevant issues, like the upheaval of mass layoffs, the fight to establish unions, and the medium's relationship with conflicts in Ukraine and Gaza. These topics would feel drastically out of place at the Game Awards, and that alone is an indictment of the show. If there's no room to discuss, celebrate, and condemn these topics at the industry's most public-facing event, what are we even doing here? The Game Awards organizers have done a great job replacing the embarrassment that was Spike's VGX, with a show that looks more like the Oscars. But the video game industry is not Hollywood. Where are our luminaries? What are our issues? How are we innovating? Making video games more like movies is not the goal. Unless you're Kojima, I guess. There are a bunch of other events throughout the year that give time to video game creators and broader conversations, but the Game Awards clearly needs to strike a better balance. You know the old saying, you either die a hero or you live long enough to become the 2013 VGX Awards.
Television is dead. Video games are the future.
I want to take this time to shout out a handful of other game industry shows that really highlight developers and issues that matter. The Game Developers' Choice Awards and its Independent Game Festival competition, the Spawnies from Spawn on Me, GameDev.World from Rami Ismail, and Day of the Devs. And there are always the showcases from indie publishers like Annapurna Interactive, Devolver Digital, and Panic to look out for throughout the year. It's been a strangely stressful time, so I've been relaxing with couch co-op in Halo the Master Chief Collection. It's familiar and comfortable, and toggling between old and new graphics is still an absolute delight. I'd love to discover some new couch co-op games specifically, so let me know in the comments if you have any favorites. Before we leave this week, I want to say thank you for your name suggestions for the show. We're going through them and we'll roll out a title for this thing eventually. One thing I know for certain is it will not be called The Morning After, because that's what my colleague Matt Smith's tech news show is called. And I mean, come on, we can do better than that. I mean, he doesn't even have a green screen over there.
We couldn't afford it because of Brexit.
Lame. You should watch The Morning After anyway, and subscribe to the Engadget channel for all of our latest videos.